Okay, round 3. Let's get started. Alright, so I'm Jazz. My name is not Rico, you know this. I'm here to introduce you to Dungeons & Dragons. Some of you have already played, some of you it's your first time. Either way, we'll have a lot of fun. So, Dungeons & Dragons is basically, we call it a collective storytelling game. The reason why is because, although yes, it's a game, you're probably going to be fighting monsters, completing quests, stuff like that. It's still, like, so much of it is just up to the imagination. And it's not really a game where it's like the players against the dungeon master. It's more of we work together. The dungeon master provides challenges that the players get to overcome and have a great time. That's why they call it collective storytelling. So essentially, you as players make up characters that exist in this fantasy setting. They've got goals, dreams, people they hate, terrible habits. They're people. But they've also, what makes D&D great is that they've also got special training or special powers. So, like wizards or knights, stuff like that. So I as a dungeon master, I basically create the setting, I play non-player characters, people for you to interact with, I provide monsters, challenges, all that sort of stuff. So those are the players and the dungeon master, the main aspects of the game. The reason I like Dungeons & Dragons is because of its flexibility and ability to be imaginative and kind of what you want. Video games are great, but even though they're getting a lot better in agency and being like games focusing on creativity, in D&D there really aren't, like, limits aren't as much of a thing. There are rules, but the rules are kind of meant to give you like a concrete world you can understand. They're basically to let you know how what you want to do will work. But you basically, like, your choices are up to you. You can go completely off the grid. You can, like, the dungeon master helps balance things, but it's really the characters that are going to dictate how the story will actually play out, no matter what the DM's plan is. And that's just kind of what I love about Dungeons & Dragons. It's really freeing. You get special powers, you can do what you want with them. We're going to be playing 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. It's the newest one. It's been out since, I think, 2014. And it's just, they've done a really good job of simplifying gameplay. So it's pretty easy. Like, I mean, there's still some stuff to learn, but it's pretty easy to pick up and plays pretty seamlessly. We'll be doing one-shots. So we've got like 10 people who are interested, maybe even more. That's too much for one party. You want like about 4 players, so everybody gets to feel that they've got enough, that they're able to like do enough stuff, right? Like, you don't want to just be sitting there for the whole game and not doing anything. So we'll end up splitting into groups, and we'll run one shot for each group. A one shot is basically a self-contained story. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. Not that the characters can't evolve after that. You can always bring your characters into different campaigns afterwards or anything. Whatever the one-shot story could even continue. That's what happened to my campaign that we're now playing for about a year. But just so we can basically do something this summer that's feasible, we'll just be focusing on running those one-shots. And then speaking of feasibility, we'll talk about some expectations. So I, like you, am busy. I'm working full-time. I've got Ultimate 5 days a week. I'm in 3 Dungeons & Dragons campaigns, and I'm trying to build a storyboarding portfolio. So time is a thing. This means that we're probably not going to be actually playing until probably August. But nevertheless, I'm still really excited for this, and we are going to be doing stuff leading up to it, just at kind of like a not so crazy pace. We'll be building, I actually have, so I've written up a little bit of a process. in this document. So the first thing we'll be doing is kind of what this document is for, which is taking a look at the races and classes. These are the two of the core things that will help define who your character is. Your race is basically your species, it's your biology. Are you an orc? Do you have like lots of strength? Are you a gnome? Are you small but nimble and really quick thinking? Are you a tiefling? Are you like oppressed and angry? Like the races determines your biology. It's kind of your nature, but your class is more of your job or your what you've trained in or how you developed your powers. So things like wizards like knights, rogues, for example. A way to kind of explain class in Ultimate Frisbee is like a handlers and cutters could be classes, for example. This document is to let you look at what races and classes and are options. It's basically just to get you thinking, just get a general idea of like what kind of character you might want to play. We'll get to specifics later. So after this has been out for a while and people have had a chance to like ask me questions and have an idea of what they might want to play, I'll make a survey. And this survey will determine, it'll probably be a Google form, and it'll ask what kind of game you want to play. So like, are you looking forward to just like fighting things, like fighting monsters or bad people or good people, depending on what your character's like? Or are you like more into intrigue and espionage? Do you want to infiltrate a foreign government and find out what kind of dangerous thing they're creating? Do you want to play a more explorative game? Are you looking forward to like discovering a hidden castle and determining what happened there? Mysteries, like there's so many options. And the survey will just help me determine what kind of stories I should be writing for you based on what you're interested in. After that, and kind of based off that, and inevitably our schedules, we'll divide into groups, and then after that we'll start working out on the nitty gritties. So basically making your character sheet. So earlier it's just coming up with a general like idea of who you want your character to be. The character sheet basically turns that idea into a concrete sheet that will let you exist and play in this world. It's stuff like determining what your skills are, what your spells are if you have them, what weapons you have, stuff like that, and putting it all down on paper so you can basically play in the game. The way I like to think of it is that earlier on, it's you kind of coming up with your race, your class, writing up some backstory, getting an idea of your personality and stuff like that, who your character is. And then with the character sheet is when I use my understanding of the game to help turn the idea of your character and have that reflected in the mechanics of the game. So it's something that that you'll be working on, and then I'll be helping you, because helping you get with the rules and stuff like that. There'll probably be a lot of back and forth via the internet and stuff. But it's really, building your character is so much fun. It lets you figure out like all these cool things that you're going to get to do, and gets you really excited for the game. One way that, for example, talking on reflecting who you want your character to be in the mechanics. My character is a tiefling warlock, and I wanted her to be really cunning and clever and kind of like lie her way through situations. So I made her, in the character sheet, I made her have like really good charisma. She's good at deception. She can change her appearance. She uses a lot of illusionary magic. So that's just kind of how a character idea can transition into game mechanics and skills. After everyone has their characters kind of put together, then the DM, probably me, will go into the cave and just kind of write up the session, write up the story, the settings, come up with the challenges that you'll be faced with. And then eventually we'll finally get to play the game. So that's the overall process. I'm just going to quickly go through this document. So this document I wrote up, it's basically some succinct descriptions of what the classes and races are. So I kind of split into two parts, within class and within race. So first there's just like a general overview, like one or two sentences about the characters, about the classes, and then below there's a more detailed explanation of each. It's not like as detailed as in the player's handbook, which is like each class has like multiple pages, but it's still enough information that it would be overwhelming to look at all of it, which is why I have the general list first. You can find the stuff that you're, kind of interested in, and then look at the more detailed stuff once, like if you're like, okay, I'm interested in monks and rogues, I can go find them and then kind of see what they're like to help me better my decision. Pretty much the same idea with races. Here's a list of the races that we have available. Just a little thing on ability scores. Abilities or stats, same thing. And then, it goes into detail more about the races. So, like, you've got elves. I talk about their ability scores. So wood elves have get a bonus in dexterity and wisdom. And then it talks about kind of like the special, cool bonus abilities each race gets. Now, in races and classes, there's sub-races, so like elves, but sub-races are wood elves, drow, and high elves. Same with classes. There are sub-classes, so like a ranger could be a hunter, a beastmaster, deep stalker. I like to think of it like going back to the example of handlers as a class. A hucker could be a subclass, somebody you're like, their main job is get the disc to them, and then they'll punt it downfield, so like Riley, right? And then there's like a reset handler could be another subclass, so like Aaron, right? Like very fast and squirrely, you can't really stop him, he's going to get the disc and keep the disc alive. Those are kind of like how subclasses work. And that's about it. That's an overview of this document. So I don't know exactly how the summer is going to work, but we're adults, we'll figure out how to do it, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So feel free to ask me any questions. If a question comes up a lot, I might make another video and kind of do a Q&A. But we'll feel this out as we go.